When Ashoka Maurya ascended the throne in the 3rd century BCE, he did so through a series of violent successions. Historical traditions identify him as Chanda Ashoka, the Fierce, maintaining his early empire through fear. Legends state he secured his crown by slaughtering 99 of his half-brothers. He then established a specialized prison in his capital known as Ashoka's Hell, a facility designed solely for the brutal torture of his enemies. This period of his reign was defined by a total absence of empathy. He viewed absolute power as a tool that required the constant, merciless application of terror to ensure stability. This brutality functioned as a calculated political strategy to consolidate control over the most powerful throne in ancient India. The empire Ashoka inherited covered an immense geographic scale. His borders reached from the mountains of modern Afghanistan in the west to the lowlands of present-day Bangladesh in the east. Governing such a vast landmass was a logistical struggle. The territory was filled with diverse, disconnected populations, and ancient communication methods made centralized control difficult to maintain. To manage this vulnerability, Ashoka used his military to strike preemptively. He marched his armies across the subcontinent to crush local resistance before it could evolve into a widespread rebellion. This policy of expansion brought the Mauryan Empire to the borders of Kalinga, a wealthy and independent state on the eastern coast that refused to submit to imperial rule. In 260 BCE, Ashoka launched an invasion of Kalinga. For the emperor, this was a standard administrative move intended to finalize his control over the eastern seaboard. The human cost of the conflict was immense. Historical records state that 100,000 people were killed in the fighting, while another 150,000 were forcibly displaced from their homes. Following the victory, Ashoka surveyed the battlefield. He found a landscape devastated by his own orders, filled with the wreckage of a culture he had just destroyed. Ashoka realized that dominion over a wasteland provided no path toward a stable empire. He had traded tens of thousands of lives for a kingdom of graves. This realization caused a total rejection of violent expansion. The fierce, warlike persona of Chanda Ashoka effectively died in the ruins of Kalinga. He turned toward Buddhist philosophy, concluding that long-term stability required the voluntary cooperation of his subjects. He sought a way to govern that focused on winning the loyalty of the people rather than breaking their will. He introduced Dhamma, a civic code of ethics based on nonviolence and social responsibility. This was a unifying moral framework designed to be accessible to all his subjects regardless of their specific faith. Ashoka now faced a new logistical challenge. He needed a way to distribute this new civic code to every corner of his diverse and illiterate empire. How do you deliver a new set of values to millions of people in an age before paper, printing, or telecommunications? Ashoka's solution was to carve his decrees directly into the landscape. He erected towering monolithic pillars and inscribed rock faces at major trade routes and gathering places. These edicts contained practical instructions for the population, mandating religious tolerance, animal welfare laws, and the creation of a medical infrastructure to treat both humans and animals. To ensure his messages reached everyone, he used local dialects. Depending on the region, the edicts were written in Prakrit, Greek, or Aramaic, bypassing the need for a single, centralized language. Ashoka established a centralized system for broadcasting state policy to a diverse population, using these permanent stone records to bind the empire through shared values. Following the collapse of the Mauryan dynasty, Ashoka's name faded. As the Brahmi script was forgotten, his pillars became mysterious relics with no identifiable author. In 1837, scholar James Princip finally deciphered the script. He discovered thousands of inscriptions belonging to a ruler identified only by the title Devanampriya, or Beloved of the Gods. The mystery was solved in 1915 with the discovery of the Maski Edict. This inscription specifically paired the title Devanampriya with the name Ashoka, confirming the existence of the legendary emperor. When India formed its modern republic in 1947, its leaders reached back to Ashoka's legacy. They selected his lion capital as the official state emblem to represent the country's new identity. They also placed the Ashoka Chakra, his wheel of law, at the center of the national flag. Modern India anchored its symbols to Ashoka to represent a specific foundational myth. His legacy suggests that a nation's strength comes from internal peace, tolerance, and shared civic unity.